have is PSTA performance reports and updates.
I would just like to quickly introduce a new member of our administrative team. Clarissa has joined Rachel as an administrative person this month. So she has actually been at PSTA as a temporary assistant working with our project manager for the concrete project and managing that project. So she jumps from that frying pan into the fire, now dealing with that minutes and boards and committees and me. So that's great. Welcome, Clarissa.
Welcome aboard.
Yeah. Just another note, there is a personnel committee meeting after this meeting. And then there is a meeting scheduled of the nominating committee, or soon to be scheduled.
August 9th.
The nominating committee will be nominating board officers for next year, as well as appointing or recommending committee member appointments.
Right.
Yeah.
Do they have the same rules if they don't show up to the nominee meeting, they can just plug in there?
Okay. The business. There. Go to board member comments. Is there any, Commissioner Long?
I don't have anything to add.
Scott?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think it was good that we had the discussion, the Plan B discussion. We all want Plan A, but I think it's better to have a plan and change it than have no plan at all. But a concern that I do have going forward, and maybe this is something that the Finance Committee or Planning Committee, whichever one would be appropriate to look into this. I have a concern with our maintenance budget going forward because we are not replacing buses at the rate that we're supposed to be replacing. And we're actually quite a bit behind on that. And I would like to see that as a discussion at the next committee meeting to take a look at that, because we could have a potential maintenance budget scenario on our hands in the future and potential service interruption scenario that we may not be very happy with. So I'd like us to take a look at that. Thank you.
Commissioner Smith?
I have nothing. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I just want to thank the staff and our consultants for the presentation on the bus plan scenarios today. I think we heard some things for the Green Light Committee to really shout from the rooftops, and what the referendum could mean for improving bus service alone. And the things that really stood out to me were the 65% increase in PSTA service, the increase in the 15-minute frequency routes, the improvement of the grid network, the improvement of our regional network, weekend services increasing by 80%, and then our supporting routes will have routes that will be available up until 10 p.m. and the frequent routes will be available until midnight. That's some pretty incredible improvement of services to offer the public, and real specific things to talk about that I think people can really wrap their heads around. So thank you very much for this presentation. I do think it's okay in our public messaging to talk about the what would happen in a scenario of 28% budget cuts, which would be very serious. But we do have lots of positive things to talk about, to take to the public with the Green Light Pinellas. And that's really the responsibility of all the board members here to be a part of that. It's not you, the staff, doing it, it's all of us here. Thank you.
Councilmember Newton.
Thank you, and I echo that. I want to thank you for the presentation. It's very educational. And hopefully the public watching saw that what would happen if we do not go forward with a more robust, scalable transit plan that offer better services. But I'd share a different perspective. I think in any campaign, which is what this is, as an alternative, people are going to vote for one or the other. You have to look at, and also under the auspices of full disclosure, show it also is it's not a scare tactic, I don't think. I think it's more educational. And they'll know what happened, because you don't want to say, well, we don't want this, we don't want this, we don't want this. And then all of a sudden, there's no more buses, there's no more routes. So it's a cause and effect. I want to also acknowledge that we have 30 employees that received the combinations, 27 drivers and 3 customer service reps. So bear with me while I pose up your name out of love. Doug Bernard, Alton Bosch, John Boychuk, Steve Brooks, William Butler, Elizabeth Cater, she has 2 awards, Jessica Cosme, James Davis, Lori DeBlake, Norman Ellis, Diana Grayson, Adrian Hampton Smith, 2 awards, Wilbur Hunter, 2 awards, Arlene Kosher, Robert Cross, Stephen Melka, Marvetta Mills, Karen O'Hara, and Holskin O'Hara, if they're related. Millen Rokovic, 2 accommodations, Ira Robbins, Robert Rodriguez, Judy Stacy, Earl Thomason, Corey Waters, Kerry Williams, Scribo Wright, Donnell Rogers, Cedric Blair, and Gay Johnson. I want to thank you for the work that you do for the people that depend on you, and you only to get from A to B. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple of things. As the PSTA board's representative to the NPO, just letting you know that in September, Commissioner Welsh and I will be a part of a panel on NPO for E-Town holding a meeting, I believe, on the Long Range Transportation Plan. So we'll be doing that. And Brad, I just want to ask you, maybe at the next planning meeting, before we come back at the next board meeting, we can talk a little bit more about those details of the no new revenue and just make sure we get that stuff written down so that when we do have that approval at our August board meeting, some of those things have been addressed a little bit more. Not graphic detail or anything, but just make sure we don't forget about that. Talk a little bit more about that at the planning meeting. And I just want to remind everybody that before we come back to the next board meeting, school will be starting. And so a lot more people will be out on the road, school buses, so just please be careful.
Thank you. Councilmember Johnson.
Thank you. An item from the Finance and Performance Management Committee, which met on July 17th, we had quite a discussion on the projects and the project management process and how we provide information on them, and talked about some alternatives, and made a suggestion on modifying the summary form that we occasionally see. So that's the, except for the fact that we're going to start meeting at 8:30 every month instead of at 9 to give us a little more time to chew on things. That's the basic report from that. One thing that I like to do is I like to look at the ACPT schedule and where we are on the schedule. And I would note that we're doing pretty good. The main thing that we haven't done is the detailed financial model. And as I understand from our executive director, that we now have a consultant on board that will be working on that. And so I'm very, very pleased with that. One thing I see is that Mr. Miller is currently filling about 3 jobs. However, we have about 4.5 jobs that need to be filled. So it's certainly a challenge, particularly for this schedule. I'd like to revisit a couple of comments that I made during the meeting. The issue of the financial forecast and the sustainability of that. I think it's important that we look at that even in the new revenue forecast, so that once we get started down that lane, we're not we're not growing that, and so that's important. And I look forward to getting more detail, as Mr. Kozlowski said, on the bus plan and fitting that in with the total, the rail project, and see how this fits. And that, I guess the consultant will be helping us with that total package. A simple plan, it's kind of a challenge for me to keep all my head around all that. And then let me close by just saying that I'm looking at a Southeast Pennsylvania Transit Authority annual report. And one of their major goals is dealing with their capital funding. And they've got significant capital need shortages. And they reference some of their peers. Chicago is $1.7 billion. New Jersey, $1.2 billion, Washington, $997 million. So we're not really dealing with things that other people aren't dealing with as well, but it's important to look forward. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Hawes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to thank our consultants and staff and all the stakeholders for the completion of the bus plan. Now the green light bus plan. I think it gives us some great information to talk to the public about. I'm impressed by how much more eloquent Commissioner Rice's Sophie's Choice reference was than my aliens reference. I probably could analyze that a little bit more, but I'm really excited about where we are as a PSTA board and as a community. The facts tell the story. And when we start talking about the benefits, TOD, all those things, smart growth, and then add to that, well, here's what happens if we don't have that revenue source. I think it's a clear choice for our citizens. So, great work by everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Barkley.
I would just like to, again, thank our presenters. I thought they did an excellent job. And I think one of the things that we all saw as we went through that process is that we have to consider the impact on our community because if increased transportation network is not implemented, we're going to have a significant amount of impact on other aspects of our community as a whole. So it's very important we all focus on this. I think it's very important we all do everything we can to get the word out, be enthusiastic when we're talking to the public, and make sure that people are fully aware of the importance of it.
Councilwoman Johnson?
Yeah, I don't have anything.
Commissioner Dyke?
Yeah, about 3 centuries ago, somebody first articulated the concept of a social contract, and it's been added to throughout the years. And what it really comes down to for Pinellas County is for us to realize that anything that makes the county a better place to live in makes it a better place for everybody. And I think that we should somehow contrive to articulate that to the people of Pinellas County, so that it's not so much what's in it for me directly, but that they understand that anything that makes this a better place to live is really a better place for everybody.
Aren't we philosophical today? This is nice. I want to echo what Commissioner Welch said. Every meeting I sit here just feeling so proud to be a part of this. And I'm continue to be even more motivated and excited as we have more presentations. Thank you to the staff, all the consultants. Everybody's doing a great job. And the hard work is ahead of us. A plan is a beautiful thing, but we have to go out and sell that plan to the community. And I am confident we can do that. It's going to take all of us working really hard over the next year. But I think it can happen, and I look forward to being a part of it.
Thank you. Just a couple of quick things. I think this no new scenario is important, but I think it's important when we're giving that message that we do it in the right way. That what I'm hearing from the opposition is we're going for the penny because we're broken and insolvent. And that's just not true. We're required to pass a balanced budget, and even with the presentation of no new revenue, we're showing a balanced budget out to 2023. And it certainly includes cuts in service. But this isn't, we're broke, give us more money. And I think we need to make sure we make that message clear that with Brad's leadership, the staff, this board has made $40 million worth of cuts. We're running a pretty efficient system with the revenue that we have and continue to do so. The other thing I'd like to bring up in maybe a future presentation, maybe in September, PSTA created a community corridor program where we took the capital improvements and partnered with City of St. Petersburg, who got some grants for the Central Avenue BRT. And we're moving forward with that plan to make the pedestrian and bus amenities on that corridor. And we have an art and transit program where we're going to have an artistic theme to the shelters and the pedestrian amenities on the Central Avenue Bus Rapid Transit corridor. We put out an RFQ, had 10 artists respond. We narrowed that down to 3, and next month we'll pick one. We'll develop a theme on what these art-related passenger amenities will be. So maybe by September we could have a presentation as that's moving forward. I think it's a pretty neat opportunity to show off our system in a way a little different than the normal shelters, benches, and garbage cans at the stops. Seeing no other things come forward, we're adjourned. Thank you.